Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night. And as always, print on. Oh wait, no, that's the end of the stream. So we have four people watching. Um,
And one of them is me.
one and me. So we have Uncle Ron and Mad Mike.
So welcome to the last ever Project Talk.
It's starting to feel that way. I don't know what to do. I guess we just suck that bad. I mean, we've always known we sucked, but there was people that watched us,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they were just watching because they had nothing better to do, or
Giving us the pity views.
if it actually crashed. But Uncle Ron does get bragging rights tonight, and he was the first one I seen in the chat. And Mad Mike is also here.
Oh, good old angry Michael.
Thanks, guys. Good night. Uncle Ron's going to talk backwards through the show. I have things to tell, but like I don't even feel like telling them now. Who am I telling them to? Well, now weirdly enough, the StreamYard now shows that we have one person watching.
I see that too.
We just destroyed everybody that was watching.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And I was going to try to stream from the garage tonight, but two things have kind of hung that up. One, it's already getting hot outside. I had to turn the air conditioning on in here. I mean, I had to turn it down. It's always on, but I had to turn it down because it was sticky in here. Uncle Ron said you aren't even watching yourselves. I am actually. I have to. Like, I have to run it in the background as part of all of this. So it's the only way I can see the chat.
I'm trying to figure out. There's dust from the ceiling on my desk and across my computers. I'm trying to figure out why.
Is your desk underneath where the construction people have been walking in and out?
No, that's up on the second floor. I'm down in the basement.
Yeah, but they got to get there. Like,
oh no. I'm in the back of the house, and they come in through the front door. Right? Yeah, side, back. Yeah.
And is the dust anywhere else? Because it could just be going through the house. I mean, the work you're having done is dusty work.
But it's like a line. It's like a line this thick. So it's like it's come down from inside the
dust if it's in a line.
Sometimes they call it that.
This party's about to get started.
Now there's two.
But yeah, the other reason that I couldn't stream from the garage is I have something in there that y'all can't see. So,
because it's not safe for work.
Yeah, because it's completely naked. No, it's an up and coming. So
up and comings.
It's an up and comings. So hopefully, so that'll work out. Duff is here. CIS bug James's basement.
No, I think that says CSIS.
Oh, CSIS. What is CSIS?
I think that's the Canadian security. I think that's our equivalent of like the FBI or the CIA or something.
The Canadian.
Yep. It's the same thing, but they say
A. We're bugging you, eh? Sorry to bug you. Sorry. No, I was gonna say something, and then I got distracted by Duff. Yeah, it's like our CIA.
Give me 2 seconds.
Man, I'm just super absent-minded.
Well, at least you have a mind to be absent, I guess.
Yeah. I was playing with a little bit of Chat GPT this week to solve a problem at work. We have a script that I wrote back 142 billion years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That is, it's just a regular batch file, and it does a fine job, but it doesn't quite do everything that somebody else needs. So I thought, well, maybe I'll write it in something else. And I originally thought about writing it in Python, or even a PowerShell script, but instead I had this great idea to ask ChatGPT to write me a script in C sharp to do do what I needed it to do, and that was a rabbit hole. So
I mean, first of all, who considers C sharp a scripting language?
it's actually a pretty good scripting language. Um, you can write console scripts in it, and it's so fast. I mean, it is so fast for what it does. So, um, what would you have written it in? I'll tell you. I'll tell you what.
Probably Python. Probably Python, if we're being honest.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what it needs to do in a nutshell, without getting too detailed, and also the criteria for it. The main purpose of it, when you run it, it gives you the option to generate a new job number, and if you choose that option, it looks in the current year folder, finds the next incremental job number, which is a 2-digit date code, a hyphen, and a 4-digit number, followed by the name of the job, which can be any number of characters. I suppose not any number, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it might be the Pancake House,
But
Orlando.
you've provided that job name at some point, right?
Correct.
Obviously, yeah. Okay.
Because when you say I want to create a job number, it looks, and if the last one was 301, 0001, it's going to give you 0002 incremental. And then it'll ask you for the job name, and you give it the job name. It then creates a folder with that number and the name of the job. Create subfolders underneath it that we create every time, so it does it automatically. And it also copies an Excel file over to the correct directory and renames it with the job number in front of it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's like the basic part of it. Then the part that we needed to add to it was when a job is no longer just estimated and it actually sells, people up the chain then go to that same folder and they copy in like 4 or 5 more directories and like 10 more files. So I needed it to be able to prompt for the job number, not the whole entire title, just that job number.
And then
Go
perform
and
the upgrade, basically.
Right. Go and find that job folder, create the new subfolders underneath it, and copy in the remaining files, blah, blah, blah. So I could have continued to do it in the batch file. It's slow.
I probably would have done it in PowerShell.
Well, and I kind of lean that way.
And PowerShell obviously makes file system manipulation pretty easy, and none of the stuff you just listed off is particularly complicated.
No, I don't think anything that this script does is very complicated.
No.
But I mean, there's some more to it, but it doesn't really matter because we have multiple divisions in the company. We have the commercial division, which is the division that I technically work for. I mean, I work for all of them, but I work for that one. And then we have the general contracting division. We have, I forget what the other one's called, but it's anything that we build in-house. Like we have built and own multiple buildings that we then rent out. And also we do spec homes out of that. Well, the job numbers start with 2 initials and then the 2-digit date year and a 4-digit number. So that creates a little more fun. But the other criteria is I wanted it to have an external settings file, like an INI file, and it needed to be self-executable. Click the button and go. No, not like that. With nothing else having to be installed. Now, obviously, with C#, you have to have
the Visual Studio runtimes and all that jazz.
Well, no, because it's not visual. It's just a console script. So all it requires is the Net framework, which who doesn't have Net framework installed? I mean, if you're running Windows, you have Net.
I also meant the .NET framework. I've recently been working with a bunch of VB6 trash, and
trash.
So I've gotten into the okay. Do you have the VB6 runtime files installed? So my brain immediately just went, oh yeah, the runtimes, and like the .NET environment is basically like what's replaced the runtime environment stuff. Like it's the unifying framework that they're using for everything. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and I mean with C#, I know that you can do a visual, like you can write in Visual Studio, but
yeah,
I'm far from a programmer anymore. Like, like my programming days are really limited anymore. I don't get a chance to do it. I haven't kept up, so now everything is new and different to me. So, but I will tell you, ChatGPT will not 100% write what you want it to write.
no,
Oh,
people use it and then they tailor it to actually do what they
yeah.
need it to do.
Well, it's helped me to learn, because if you know any C language, you know all the C languages
Yeah,
in a nutshell. I mean, obviously things are a little bit different, but you have a general premise of what's going on,
yep.
and you can figure it out. And a few Google searches and everything's great. But I think what I learned the most is that Chat GPT is creepy and weird. Is that a is that an Amber Alert that just popped up there on your screen?
No.
So
I thought I'd add my like my printer camera so that there's something else going on the screen for a little bit.
but it had other ideas. Um, so I was playing with Chat GPT with all of this last night while I was waiting to have to go get Xander, and you would ask it to produce a piece of code, and it would produce that piece of code, and if it's over a certain number of lines, it just stops. Like that's the whole answer.
Yeah, I've been there too. I a couple weeks ago asked it to program an entire Space Invaders clone in QBasic, and it was going along. I'm like, yeah, this is looking like it's good, and then just like midway through a sentence, just
Yep. So I Googled that today, and I found multiple references that if you just tell it continue, it'll continue.
oh really?
That doesn't work. It and I'll get to that. Or if you say, I can't remember exactly the way it was phrased, but like continue the output starting where you left off, or starting from this line, or whatever. But here's the thing, and it's even worse. Like if the whole session crashes and you have to like refresh the session, it's like you got a different person on the other side. I know it's not people, or it's not supposed to be, but I'm
It's
starting
not
to
spoiling
doubt that.
Korean.
I think it's like a hive of people in India that are just typing responses. If it say it feeds out the first 200 lines of code and then it just ceases, just stops, and it doesn't error, it just stops, like that's the end of the answer. And so you say, please continue with the remainder of the code starting from this line or from where you left off, without repeating any of the code that you've already shown me. Otherwise, sometimes it goes back and just starts over again.
Yeah.
The code that comes out is now so different than the original code. It's like it doesn't remember what it was giving you when it ran out.
Because it probably doesn't.
So now it kind of looks back at what's already there and starts putting it out again. And variable names are different and just some crazy stuff. And then I had at one point, I had fed it a little piece of the code and I said, this code does this if I wanted it to react this way. It was just a yes or no option, but I didn't want it to take any other input. The way it was handling it was, if you hit yes, it did it, and if you hit no or just enter or the letter P, it didn't matter. Anything else was like choosing no. So it was an if else statement that really came down to, if it's Y, do it, and if else, don't do it. Is what it came down to. And so I fed it that code and I said, if I want this to only accept yes or no, what would I do to change this code? And it gave me an answer that was wrong. Like it was, and I don't remember, because again, this was last night and a lot has happened since then. but like you could look at the code and tell it wasn't going to work. And so then I said, this code didn't function as expected. Is there another way? It gave me the exact same code, like 4 times. And then it gave me completely different code that was not even what I asked for. It said like, oh, sorry for the inconvenience. Here's that code to send the email. And it started like, I'm like, what in the world is going on? So if you're looking to use ChatGPT to write your code, don't. It'll help. Like if I run into a sticky spot, I've asked it questions and it's helped. And it's quicker and more direct than Google because you don't have to read through a bunch of nonsense or a-hole comments before you get to the answer. Because the one I read today during lunchtime, a guy had asked, like I've written this code. I'm a beginner coder and I've written this code and it's not doing what I expect. This is what I expect. This is what it's doing. And this other guy comes back and he goes, I'm not helping you until you structure your code in the such and such way. And I thought, man, I wish there was a button on there to like give that guy an electric shock because that's just
directly to the testicles.
Yeah, that's just rude. So Uncle Ron said he wanted to restrict possible input to Y or no, and all other keys are invalid. Pretty much so. So, and again, C# is new to me. I've never touched C# before. I don't know why I chose it. I think I asked Google like what was a good programming language to write a Windows application, and that came up, and I thought, okay, I'll take that one because I don't care. Again, if you know one C, you can generally adapt to other C. But
I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I mean, so far the amount of time that I've put into it, it's doing what I want it to do. I just now have to add more functionality to it. So I've actually got an external INI file. And the reason I wanted the external INI file was right now, if we change the directory structure that we need, or we need to add or remove a file from being copied in, I have to go in and edit the batch file because I don't trust anybody else to do it. Control issues, But with an INI file, it could be changed in the INI file, and then I don't have to worry about recompiling the software. And it looks so much better when it's an exe and not a bat file.
Makes it look like you guys know what you're doing.
That's right.
Hey, what do you think of my enterprise?
That's a pretty nice enterprise.
It does this.
Okay.
The actual ship does that in the show, so it's kind of a cool deal. It's held together by magnets.
Oh.
So you can go,
I'll just never forget the time you were flying that Enterprise and you crashed it into your camera on live stream.
Oh, that was that one's up there still somewhere, I think. I keep going to throw it out, and then I'll be like, oh no, I know where the controller is, and then the next time I'll be like, oh no, I know where the Enterprise is. I actually know where both of them are at the moment. This was made by a company called this is Diamond Slack, but it was sold through a company called ThinkGeek, which I don't think exists anymore.
Gene Gamble is here with us this evening. Hello, Gene. How are you? And he said the thing about ChatGPT and most AI is that you need to be specific to get good output. And I agree. And I should have brought I wrote out this massive paragraph in the beginning of what exactly I wanted this software to do. And
you're like, I want this program to cure cancer. Go.
Well, no, but you have to tell it how it's going to cure cancer. I mean, it really is. I mean, Gene's right. You have to be super, super specific the way you want it. Like, you have to tell it, I want the INI file to be named this, and I want the directory structure to be this. But the first one was so detailed that, like, I put it in, like, I fed it to it one time, and it's like, sure, I can help you with that. And then that was my whole answer. And I'm like, okay, let's do that again. And then it was like too much for it. Like I think at that point, like the code was already too big. It might have been where I like kind of went wrong. So I let it write a base, and then I kept asking it to add things until I just couldn't process it anymore. But yeah, you got to talk to it like it's a 6-year-old that knows everything.
Most 6-year-olds do know everything.
But I mean, it's weird that way because it does know everything, but it doesn't necessarily know how to process what you're asking for because it makes sense in your head, but it's not human, so therefore it doesn't necessarily make sense in its head. Mad Mike A said the quickest way to get correct answers to a question on the internet is to post a response saying this is the only way to solve your problem. People love correcting a wrong answer. That's brilliant, Mike. I'm going to try that next time. Oh, that's so brilliant. You should tell the story about you and Reddit guy.
Oh yeah, I will tell that story in 2 seconds.
Okay. But anyway, that's been my run with ChatGPT. What I need is an AI that I can feed it all my video files that I've shot,
and it edits into the perfect video.
Well, not I mean we don't have to go that far, but at least catalog them based on what the topic is, and put them in chronological order for me. Then I need a different AI that'll actually edit them. So I sent James a link to and I don't condone the use of this, but I sent James a link to an AI this week that if you feed it an image that has, I don't know, something like a watermark on it, it will fix the image and take the watermark off. So
look at all these original photos that are done by me and nobody else.
If there's some kind of a photo site out there that loves to put their stock watermark all over everything, you can just take it off. Just take it off of there.
I forget what else I was looking for, but good enough.
Again, I don't condone that kind of activity. If you like something, pay for it. The artist deserves to be paid.
I participate in it, but I don't condone it.
I was just testing.
Yeah, repeatedly, because you just want to make sure every 20 minutes or so that the functionality still works.
No, nope, only used it once.
I didn't even try it. I guess I'm holier than thou.
Well, I'll tell you, it works. I know, because our thumbnail doesn't have watermarks all over.
It tastes awful, and it works. Okay, so story time.
Story time with James.
Somebody had posted on the Orange Pi subreddit asking about a 32 gig RAM version of one of the boards, which doesn't exist. And somebody replied to him saying, well, first of all, his question was he wanted to know if this Orange Pi 5 board would keep up with his like 9th generation i5 or something like that. No. No, a $50 to $100 board is not going to keep up with your i5 anything really, and a dedicated graphics card. So somebody responded to him and basically said, you don't need, even if you're buying one of these boards, you don't need one with that much memory. More memory means the system will try to do more things, and more things on the same processor means more things done, but more slowly. And I replied with, well, not exactly. Think about RAM as your desk. The more desk space you have, the more things that you can have out and visual. And the less times you have to go into your drawers, your storage solution, and pull things out to put onto the desk. So, it allows things to be basically in memory and instantly accessible to the processor instead of having to load from storage. And he went off on me about how I'm wasting people's time and money. And because lots of people will be really happy with my analogy and then they'll go out and buy RAM, and RAM does not make things faster. Because so many people will be happy with your analogy after going out and spending money on RAM, not. And I was like, no. I further basically explained, and he came back with another butthole comment. and was like, so I basically replied with like, I wish you wouldn't reply, but then I looked through his post history and he'd been like, he's just a condescending jerk.
Yeah,
That
you could just tell that he was one of those kind of people that at some point he heard something or read something on the internet, took it as gospel, and then just preaches it to everybody.
Yeah, because like I said to Glenn, I'm like, there's gonna be edge cases where more RAM isn't better. It's not even edge cases. RAM configuration also falls into it. So if you've got like I was somebody was talking about they had two 8 gig sticks of RAM in their machine, and then they had a 4 gig and a 1 gig stick because it was like spare stuff they had left around. Well, now their DDR isn't running in dual data rate mode because you don't have matching sticks. So performance was slower.
Right.
And also it dropped down to the lowest speed of the lowest stick, right?
But
So
that's
yes,
not due to having more RAM.
it's having worser RAM.
It's having the wrong RAM.
But well, even in this case, there's no configuration where they could have 15 gigs of RAM that was going to be faster than. Well, I think he had he had 2 4s and whatever adds up to the 15. So there's no configuration of 15 gigs of RAM that's going to be. Well, I guess it depends on the number of slots you have. No, 15's uneven. There will be no configuration of RAM that's going to be fastest at 15 gigs. But
right, yeah, because it's going to
anyways.
match. It's going to match down to whatever the slowest is anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to say if this makes even a small inkling, because I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I know everything. James's analogy to this guy was spot on what I've been telling people for my whole entire IT career. Immediately upon understanding RAM and hard drive and stuff, it was the exact analogy about your RAM being your desktop and your hard drive, your storage being like your file cabinet. And like I like I read what James wrote to him and I thought, man, did I write that? Like it was spot on. And this guy was set in his way. He's like, no, you're wrong, and your mom walks funny. Actually, it didn't get to that level, but
As soon as I got into his post history, there's a part where I don't use the term, but so people might mock me for saying, but he called somebody the R word. And I'm like, as soon as you get down to that point, like I don't have respect for you. That you can't engage in an intelligent discourse around a disagreement about a situation. Like
red bellied, that R word.
Yeah, no, redneck.
Redneck.
Yeah.
That's not derogatory. I call myself that all the time. Yeah. Well, and then the fact I love the fact that he kept saying 16 megabytes of RAM. You don't need more than 16 megabytes of RAM. And James was like, I think you mean gigabytes, but that's okay.
And then he didn't correct it.
No.
So I think he actually meant megabytes. He's like, look, we need to get back to 640K RAM. That's when the processors are the fastest. Right. They're not being bothered by all that extra RAMs.
Who needs more than 4 megabytes of RAM?
Sassy.
Brian said, honestly, James, it sounds like that guy was just out to be a pain in the tush. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for being here today. Oh, he said also, hi, Glenn. I missed that.
Also, so there's a thing. This isn't a rant, but also kind of rant. As you know, we're in a construction zone here, and they need access also to the basement for tomorrow. They're finishing the electrical work tomorrow, so they have to wire things into the panel. Only problem is the CPU your brain has to keep up with more information on your desk. Oh, yeah, okay, that's fair. He's saying that people get overwhelmed.
Oh, people definitely get overwhelmed. Yeah. So Matt's here tonight again. Welcome back, Matt. Jake from State Farm, and he said, "Ram butthole. What did I walk into?"
just ram and butthole. Wait, no, family channel. I wanted to message you after I saw the thing about or 7:05 if James is late again. I was gonna reply to it with I add in a minute every week we talk about politics. So every March in the retro computer scene they do a thing called, well, I think a lot of months have it, but March is Marcintosh month. So people are supposed to do videos about Macintosh computers. I was all ready to go. I bought upgrade hardware for some machines that I've got so that I could shoot these films or film these videos. And in the process of organizing and cleaning and stuff like that, they got tucked somewhere, and I have no idea where they are because we had to like clear a bunch of stuff for the renovations.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have had this stuff on the shelves. So, okay, so this is what happened. I built shelving that goes all along the wall that you would like walk into when you walk off the stairs. Like our stairs come down to a wall, and then the wall leads to like the open basement.
Okay.
So extra storage, I put shelving all along that. You've seen the shelving. It has like my retro computers on display, and then there's a bunch of storage and to get the washer and dryer up the stairs easily. I had to take down that shelving. So I had all the stuff lined up, ready to go on that shelving, so that all I had to do was go over and grab it. So we took it off, and I'm like, okay, like there's RAM and stuff there, and like fairly expensive RAM. No idea where it ended up. I'm just like,
well, the good news is it's there somewhere.
Yep. But yeah, if I'd left the shelving up, they were gonna have less than an inch on either side of the washer and dryer to like get them through that section. So I was like, you know what? I don't need anything damaged. No.
Uncle Ron said I have 6,500 pounds of his RAM and it doesn't speed anything up. No, and it smokes like crazy, and the rear axle bearings are bad in it. I don't know what's going on in that thing, but and Brian said I was actually here early, but had ice to take care of on my front step. You could literally go ice skating on it. I know Uncle Ron feels my pain unless he's in Florida. No, he's in New York currently. At least I think he is. He's not here. I also had an ice problem today that I had to take care of. I went to fill my cup and my wife had already taken all the ice.
You must have been mad.
It was hot outside. I needed something to drink.
How many people do we have watching now? 8. Okay, we're getting back up to regular numbers. They know one of us is going to be late every week, so they stumble in. I'm considering another name change. I think we discussed it last week or the week before that it had come out that my name was pretty or somewhat similar to somebody else's.
Right.
I'm considering changing it from the Time Traveling Technologist to the Time Trekking Technologist.
Oh, that's gonna seal you in, though.
But does it? Because like people use the term trekking without it being related to Star Trek. So it's kind of like a clever nod if you know my content, but doesn't like put me in a position where I can do content that's not related to Star Trek.
Yeah, I guess.
I spent time today trying to come up with a logo that added a little slight Star Trek hint, but didn't use anything copyrighted from their stuff. For obvious reasons. Let me see if I can grab a snapshot. It's a work in progress. I spent like 20 minutes on my lunch.
Yeah, what you guys don't know is, James had all that merchandise made for P&P Retrospective, which is now on sale, 50% off. Actually, I'm making that up.
You spend enough, you can get my clothes 50% off.
But what you guys don't know is he became the time traveling technologist and then had all this merchandise made. But now he's gonna. No, I'm just kidding. The Prime Watching Proctologist.
That sounds like a pain in the ass.
Why? Why does your mind have to go there?
That must be Uncle Ron. Was it
yeah.
Uncle Ron? Because I can't see chat right now. Was it Uncle Ron?
Yeah, Uncle Ron. Brian said, Glenn, have you heard of these things called snow shovels? They exist down here. I actually own a snow shovel here in Florida. I bought it here in Florida. It works great for shoveling up, like when you're like sweeping up sawdust and crap on a garage floor. They work fantastic for that. I have an ice shovel too, one of the big buckety ice shovels around here somewhere as well. So what happens here in Florida is every once in a while companies screw up, and you'll go into like the King of Rural King, or Tractor Supply, and they'll have snow sleds on the shelf. Obviously, a company the size of like Walmart, they'll fix that, or they'll just trash them or whatever. But some of the smaller companies, can I share that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's precisely why I sent it to you. Now, I'd be adding color and stuff to the letters too. I didn't get that far into it. and then a sort of a glow around it as well, kind of like the existing or the current logo.
I think the safest way that I've found to do this is using the snipping tool.
Dogs hate this.
The snipping tool?
The snipping tool. They hate it.
No, snipping, not sniffing.
Snipping as in fixing.
Oh, most men hate that too.
Snip, snip, hooray.
All right, so I'm going to pull this up. You guys got to understand, off to the right side, there is a little bit of my Streamlabs window in there. That's not part of James's logo.
Yet. Unless people love it, you know?
Oh, actually, it is part of the logo.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a little, you must have done a screen grab. There's like a window where the joystick is there in the upper left or in the upper right.
Sorry, I'm trying to get back to what I sent you.
There's like a...
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I grabbed it because they don't overlap, but I ain't stressing.
Screen share. We want to do a winder.
To the window.
There it is.
So it would be centered and all that jazz, obviously.
Oh yeah, I guess that is a little bit sifted, but no, that's...
I actually think it's missing the right edge. So I snipped it perfectly square without any of the other window coming into it. I don't know why that stuff's showing up on the side there. I even alt-tabbed back to the window and none of that stuff is on it. So, but I was screenshotting into a another computer via a remote desktop solution. So I might have just made it too complicated. So we'll see if anybody here has opinions on things. Like, yeah, James, go hug yourself.
Yeah, no, it's what is that thing in the lower left corner? Is it a file cabinet?
No, that's the save icon.
Oh, actually, that's not the save icon.
No, that's before the save icon.
That's a 5 1/4.
Yep.
What a simpler time in which to live. Yeah, I think I've turned that off proper.
The
lame laughing leprechaun.
The lame laughing leprechaun.
Brian said you could go with the basement dweller. Yeah, but then it's like riding on Chris Riley's coattails.
There is nothing original left in the world, you know?
Nobody can use the term basement in their YouTube channel name.
Okay, so the middle pin here. So I'm just looking up the pinout for this thing. So the gate is this guy here. So
Mad Mike 8 said it was 79 in Tennessee today. That sounds lovely.
Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee, the greenest land.
Mike, are you getting any of the? I'm gonna refer to it as fallout from the Ohio situation. I know that.
Oh yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah, I know that people like in West Kentucky and parts of Tennessee have been having some issues. There was a guy that was in. I want to say he was in Kentucky somewhere. And, you know, you got to take everything you see on the internet with just a grain of salt, to include this show. But he was like filming out the window, and he said, like, there was a nasty black cloud in the sky, and there was dead birds laying in the parking lot of his apartment complex or whatever. And he's like, these birds are just dropping out of the sky. And I'm like, that's crazy. It's crazy, man.
That's good eating.
Not if they've been poisoned, it's not.
Yeah, who doesn't have a little poison in them these days?
Well, nobody that eats food. I mean, so I had my doctor's appointment yesterday. I've been on a every 3 month regiment, and then it went to every 4 months, and I did so well on my blood sugar that they went to 6 months. So yay me!
Yay you!
And then there's no way to cheat that test, man. Like no matter what you do, you're not going to cheat it.
Well, because it gauges like. Well, I mean, I guess at 6 months you could mess around for 3 months, and then the next 3 months be a saint.
Yes and no. Like, you could get by with like maybe a month's worth, but I don't know if I'd go 3 months out of 6 months.
Well, because you have to start the second 3 months back in level. Like you have to be good, because it only shows like it's the like the A1C the calculation, like it's 3 months worth of progress or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're only cheating yourself if you do that.
Oh yes, and risking your life. Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, like for me, not a big deal. Nobody cares. But for you, you got at least a couple of kids there.
Listen, it's not that, man. Like you drop dead, then I got to find a new co-host, and that's a lot. That's a lot of work for me.
Come on, you just stop streaming. You take back your Thursdays.
You
It'd be Eat a Popcorn Thursday.
So I can actually share. I hinted at some stuff last week. 3D Medic Vince just popped in. We have to start the whole show over again because he missed everything. So, hey everybody, and welcome. It's no, I didn't even do the intro today, but I hinted a little bit last week at something that I was working on, and I couldn't say anything because I hadn't told the right people yet. I have now told the right people, and it's been very warmly received. So, I guess I can share it with the world. I made a decision to eat up more of my small bit of free time that I might have. I'm adopting 9 kids. No, God, no more of them. Tony Ryan said aloha from the snowy Pacific Northwest. You guys in the snow, man, you need to get rid of that. No, I actually decided to start a youth ministry here. I'm going to do it on Sundays now that my Sundays are free. I was going to do it one Sunday a month, and I was bullied. All right, maybe not bullied, but it's going to work out where it is a weekly thing for 7 weeks, I think. 7 weeks. But I'm going to teach youths how to work on cars. So I'm going to start with a, if you don't know the term Utes, that's from my cousin Vinny, just so you guys know. I'm going to start kids 16 and up with a basics class to teach them how to change a tire, change their oil, check tire inflation, check all the fluids, change a fan belt, check their brakes, change their brakes if need be, that kind of stuff. Just to youth misery. Just to kind of to open up. We have 200 youths in our church. No, let me rephrase that. They go to the youth program at our church on Wednesday nights. They come from all over the place. They don't necessarily attend there. Their parents don't necessarily attend there. And they have these just broad range of interests. And a lot of people do, like Zach is getting ready to take a guitar lesson from one of the kids at church. And so I had been kind of kicking this around for a while, and I mean, there's a lot that went into play, and I don't know, some things happened, and like when you hear things in 3, you got to kind of run with them. So, a class, I thought that's what Walmart was for. Well, Tony, and I know that was a little bit of a ribbing. But I mean, I've had people say that to me. Like I've talked to some kids, and I'm like, "Do you have any interest in learning how to work on your own car?" No, I'll just take it to the mechanic. So then, what's going to happen when there aren't any mechanics? Because nobody is learning how to work on cars. You don't like here. We don't have an option. Like there are no more shop classes in school. There's no more wood shop. There's no more auto mechanics. So like it's getting harder and harder. You might want to start with how to put gas in the car. That's what I'm teaching Xander right now. He's only done it twice in his whole life. But
that's what they do on Thursday. Oh, and no, Taste Thursday. That's Xander's thing on Thursdays.
That's Xander's thing on Thursday. So I use the term that I feel like I failed as a parent, but that's not entirely true.
Oh no, I think so.
Oh, okay, good. Good. At least somebody agrees with me. No, it bothers me heavily that my kids are not kicking down my door to learn what I know.
Because
I
it
know
wouldn't
that
take that long.
What's that?
Because it wouldn't take that long.
No, like 15 minutes and they'd have it all. No, I rib and joke all the time about, oh, I'm a genius. I know so much stuff. Some of it's useful, some of it's not useful. That doesn't matter. I know a ton of stuff. I don't necessarily remember what happened 10 minutes ago, but I'll tell you what I had for lunch a year ago. So this is it's a good opportunity. But I learned to drive in a car that had 3 pedals. Yeah, as soon as I have the Talon up and running, Xander's going to learn how to drive with 3 pedals too. But
I really need to start working with my my what do they call them? The extra hands or whatever.
helping hands.
Yeah,
Here, do you want mine? They're sitting right here.
I actually can't see what you're doing because I have the screen up to make sure that you guys can see what I can see.
Yeah, well, we can definitely see it. In fact, that's actually a good way. I might start doing that when I'm soldering. I think I could see it better than actually looking at it. Tom Mama said, "So what'd you have for lunch 5 years ago?" No, I just think it's going to be a really great opportunity. And when I announced this to my family, we were in the car. I said, "Listen, I'm going to share something with you guys, and I don't want anybody saying anything, because my wife, when I say things that make my wife proud or excited, she'll tell her friends, and I'm like, listen, I don't want you telling anybody. This needs to stay under wraps until I take it to the right people." But at the point that I made the announcement to everybody in the car what I wanted to do, Xander started asking some really tough questions, like, what makes you qualified? And I'm like, well, I'm a YouTube mechanic. Oh, sorry.
Derek said so.
A certified YouTube mechanic. No, but like he was like, well, why would somebody want to learn this? And like this, and like it was a good discussion. And I said, you should take the class as well. Or maybe my wife said that to him, and he's like, well, I would, but not with other people being there. And my first thought was, well, that's BS, because you wouldn't do it on your own. You've had the opportunity for 16 years to come out and learn stuff, and you don't. But I said to him, honestly, you'd be better off with other people. You learn better when you're in a decent sized group, because somebody else may ask a question that you didn't think about, or they might do something, whether it's wrong or right, and it sparks a little something. So I may get him to participate, but Uncle Ron said, who did I message when I was trying to identify an odd tool, and who actually knew what it was? I know all the tools. Oh, wait. You meant like tools. I have this constant quest for knowledge. Like I will fall down the stupidest rabbit holes because I'm trying to figure out something, and I just can't stop until I know all that I can know about whatever it is. Unless it's just dumb and I don't like it, but there are no stupid questions, just stupid question askers. I always remember when someone screws up and we can rank on them about it for weeks. Well, of course. But yeah, so I went to a trusted friend who has contact with the youth program at church, and I fed it to him first, and he's like, "That's a fantastic idea," and he's like, "You need to go to the youth minister," and so then I can't do what I'm told, so I thought, well, I'm going to go to the main pastor because he and I have a pretty good relationship,
A
and
rapport, as they say.
what's that?
A rapport, as they say.
Yes, yes. Because I've been going to this church since it was wee tiny. Like it had just started. Um, but so I went in on Sunday. Like I was, when you get like just crazy excited about something, and
Like me with Star Trek.
you just can't even wait to talk to people
Yep.
when you don't normally talk to people. So I got to church on Sunday. I went a little bit early just to make sure I had enough time to talk to him. And I went in, and he happened to be sitting with the youth pastor. And I thought, well, how perfect is that? So I went over, and they were in the middle of a conversation. So I just sat down, and I sat there for a minute, and I let them talk. And the youth pastor went to get up and walk away. And I said, oh, don't go anywhere. I need you too. And so the pastor said, oh, now we're in trouble. And I said, you know it. You know, if I'm out amongst the people, you're in trouble. And Brian said, that's a lot of youngins. Yeah, but I'm not taking them all at the same time. But so I pitched it to them, and both of them were excited. The youth pastor said to me, he said, well, is there any way that this could be done at the church? And immediately, like, I'm sitting to the right of both of them, and immediately my pastor's head snaps to him and goes, oh, no way. He's got a whole shop and tools and a lift. And so I was told to write it up and submit it to him via the emails. And so I did. I had already been working on it. I pretty much wrote a business plan. It's kind of the approach that I took. I broke it down in is it syllabus the right word? Syllabus?
Yes.
Lesson plan? Maybe lesson plan. But I broke it down as much as I could, send it over. They absolutely love it. I don't know what's going to happen now. I've been kind of sitting on my thumb because I did that on Sunday. I sent that last Sunday, and now I've been sitting on my thumbs ever since, just waiting to hear. But it's funny, though, because I said to him, I said, I want to keep the group small, no more than like 3 or 4 students at a time. And then a little bit of back and forth. And before long, they were saying, yeah, like 7, 8 kids would be great. And I said, no, 3 or 4. And I said, the reason that I want to keep it small is I don't want to have so many kids at one time that they don't get to participate. I don't want anybody to be I'm watching only kind of person. It's got to be hands-on. So.
Well, that's good on you, my friend.
So Fun King Ministries coming to you very, very soon. Actually, I'm probably not going to call it that, but
I have listened intently to everything you've said. I don't think I've said a lot because I didn't have anything to add, but that's
okay. I was just jaw jacking. Like, I get going. And I have passion for this. I'm excited about it. It was so hard to not tell you guys last week.
He didn't even tell me, and he tells me everything.
Yeah, no, I had to keep it completely under wraps. Like it had to be like shush, shush, shush. So, but I didn't want anybody taking my idea. No, that's a joke because I want everybody to take this idea. Like, teach everybody. But of course, as a former scoutmaster, no, I was only a scout leader. I wasn't the master. There are all kinds of rules in today's times that you have to follow. So part of the criteria I put in there was I was going to need volunteers to be a second adult during the classes. Just so that there's never, because like even my pastor had brought it up. Well, what if a girl wants to join. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm more power to them. And he said, well, and he start like I could tell where he was going. And I said, oh, no, it's already in there that I'm going to have a second adult. Girls or not, it doesn't matter. I don't want any accusations flying. I mean, not even on the inappropriate side, even as much as, well, he hit me with that 2x4 for being stupid.
It's like, are you upset about being hit by the 2x4 being called stupid? I can see this. I can see this residue on the camera, but I can't see it in person. Right here.
Huh. Might just be the way the light's hitting it. Is that residue, or is it like the coating on the top of the table?
Trying to see.
Probably shouldn't pick at it. It might keep spreading.
Let me hit it with a little alcohol and see if it. Just get it drunk.
Mark said I could set them each up with a full hub from a vehicle and show them how to change brakes. Actually, I'm on that same page, Mike. Mark, not necessarily one for each of them, but instead of having to pull a car in and rip the brakes apart, I have enough cars in the yard that I could pull a whole assembly off of like an Eagle Talon and rig up some kind of just like a wooden stand or whatever, so that everybody can see and work on it without actually trashing anybody's brakes. But as far as like tire changing and stuff, you can't hit them anymore? Nope, you can't hit them. As far as like tire changing and stuff, I'm going to use Xander's car for that because his is like the most common basic type vehicle that I own. Like my truck would not be a good choice for that. And then we're going to use the actual jack that's in the car, not my fancy floor jack, but the crappy one that will likely kill you if you ever have to change a tire on the side of the road. Because they need to learn. They need to learn what's going to happen when they get a flat tire on the side of the road. Oh, jump starting a car is in there. Checking fuses. Yeah, I should have brought the paperwork. It's all super good. It's all super good stuff. So, and then what I'm really hoping, there's a method to my madness always, right? What I'm truly hoping is that you teach them righty tighty, lefty loosey. Oh no, it's righty tighty until it snaps off, and then you don't ever have to turn it left. What I'm truly hoping is that some of these kids that go through the beginner's course will want to take a more advanced class where I can start to teach them, like diagnosing engine codes and sensors and, crazy stuff like that, noises, whatever. And then actually get them to where they want to just come and turn wrench on whatever I'm working on that I'm.
Oh, you're getting free labor out of this. I see.
From my YouTube.
Well, but the thing is, if you start featuring kids too heavily, it becomes a.
Yeah, but by the time they go through the beginner's course and then the advanced course, they're going to be 18. So, and no, that's not really true. If you feature it as only kids making content for kids, that's one thing. But no different than my videos with Xander. All the Xander's Thing Thursdays, those are all tagged as not made for children. So, no, I mean, obviously there's the whole, got to get the parents' permission to be on camera and yada, yada, yada. But someday I could end up with free labor off of this. And don't think they're never going to seek your knowledge because maybe they're just going to do it later in life. Yeah, well, Brian, that's actually what people have told me too. They said, like a few more years for Xander. Xander will be 17 in September of this year. And they said, 18, 19, 20 is when he's going to come back around and, want to start to know things. But for you that didn't, or any of you that didn't join us last week, Xander and I went to Sick Week last Thursday, which we made a guest appearance on a Vice Grip Garage video.
I saw it. It's true. Can testify.
Two times pretty
I only saw
excited.
the one.
But he's getting a little bit of the bite of the racing, a little bug bite of racing.
The Call of the Road.
So he's a little more interested in like the JDM cars, but he was flabbergasted at the as fast as those cars were in a quarter mile.
At Sick Week, is it all gas cars?
Yes.
I thought so.
There was a Tesla in the parking lot, but everything that was competing was well, no, not. They were all internal combustion. There was diesel.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
My question was, do they allow electric cars to compete?
Do they allow? I don't know if there's a rule against it.
Because don't electric cars generally have the highest acceleration rate up to a? Obviously, it's not an apples to apples thing. I don't want to get yelled at or seem like I'm like the guy talking about RAM making computers go slow, but
You're not going to get yelled at for it. But all right, so I've ridden in a Tesla. I'm going to get yelled at because is it Type S, S type? I don't know. It's the one with the dual motors, and it's really stupid fast. And the guy, we were driving like 35 miles an hour down the road, and he punched it, and I swear it made me dizzy. That thing took off so fast, like the blood ran to the back of my head for a second. Now I'm not a good car rider anyway, so I was nauseated at that point. But yes, they have a very quick acceleration. But I've seen races between some of these cars and Teslas. These cars will just they just leave them in the dust. It's ridiculous how fast these cars are. But there was actually at least 2 different trucks out there that had Cummins diesels in them, just pouring black smoke, just oh yeah,
and not a woman on a scooter in sight.
Rolling coal and not a scooter lady now, but unbelievably fast. I mean, 8-second quarter miles. And the engine in that truck probably weighed more than most of those cars did. But the big winner was an S10 pickup truck, and I forget what powertrain he was running. I want to say it was an LS based engine, but 6.40 in the quarter mile was his fastest run time. Just crazy stuff. So, but I mean, if I can get Xander a little bit more, yeah, the Swedes, exactly. Mad Mike knows what's going on. Did you see the coverage, Mike? That was when they ripped that door off that Corvette. 200 miles an hour and the hinge pins let go. It just suicided it.
That's what you were talking about last week, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the turbo on that thing was just massive. It was like the size of a wheel. It was so big. Yeah, it was crazy stuff. So I guess they sold that S10. They shipped those from Sweden over here to compete, but this was the last event for the S10. They sold it off. So,
hey, did you win that? What was it? Was it a Tacoma?
The Tahoe. I don't think that has ended yet. So to answer that question, no, I have not won it.
Oh, I guess I can talk about the mistake I made in the circuit board now. I said I'd wait till. So, the circuit board's relatively simple. Just give me 2 seconds. I can put it back on camera. Maybe a little more than 2 seconds.
I'm trying to look. I don't see. Oh, here, Tahoe giveaway. It. Dun, 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 dun,
it's the
I don't know. It's the Tahoe or $15,000 in cash. That's kind of a hard choice to make. Opportunities to receive entries closes on February 28th. But I don't see where it says when they're going to do the drawing. So there's still 5 more days to enter anyway. So I'm still in the running.
So this board here is basically just a kind of like a glorified switching board. So it's got a barrel connector on it. It takes 5 volts in here, and it's using an N channel MOSFET, which basically separates the ground off the plug to the main ground plane. So if we look at the back here, you can see the divide that I put in.
Uh-huh.
So the MOSFET's the joining part. So it connects the ground plane here to the rest of the ground plane here, and you switch it on by sending ground plane here through the bad explaining things, ad lib. So
Words
the first
are
pin.
hard.
Words are hard. So the top pin's kind of like the source pin. So that's the actual ground. The I want to say hot ground, but that's the wrong way to say it. But you guys get the idea. The second one connects to the other ground plane, and the third one it acts as a switch. So if you send 5 volts to that, it turns on the MOSFET and joins ground here to ground here.
Okay.
So 5 volts comes in through here. There's a power switch connection here, which has the 5 volts going to it. And so when you connect something here or you short these 2 pins, it sends 5 volts to the MOSFET and then connects the 2 ground planes.
You're off the camera.
Sorry. So when you jump these 2 pins here with a switch, it sends 5 volts to the MOSFET, and the MOSFET then joins the 2 ground planes. So basically sends power to the rest of the board.
Okay.
So the thing is, once you send it the 5 volts, it's switched on. And if you stop sending it the 5 volts, because there's a completed circuit with the ground and the 5 volt and everything, it continues to get 5 volts, or it gets locked into an undetermined state. Or it won't switch off. You have to have
latched. Yeah,
exactly. So you have to have a bleeder to ground, so that when you stop sending it 5 volts, the residual charge gets dumped out to ground and it switches off. So I designed the board and went over it and was sure everything was fine, and I sent it off. Came in, the power switch doesn't turn it on and off. It just stays constantly on. And upon examining what I did, it's because the bleed off for here, the 5 volts, I connected it to this ground plane and not this ground plane, because bleed off needs to go to the permanent ground, not the join off one, right? Because otherwise it basically starts fast flickering between on and off. It doesn't have a permanent way to bleed out. So I can fix. It's not that big of a deal. The resistor, I'd basically go from the pin that would be where the resistor is supposed to be connected, and then directly solder to the ground on here on the back. But I've now fixed the schematic, and I'm debating whether or not I order new boards or not.
Well, of course you're gonna.
I don't know, but like also because this is going to be a design I'm probably going to release to people, I should probably test it beforehand. Then so the rest of it. So these 2 here, the 2 USB ports on the back, it's 5 volt supply so that you can power stuff that uses a USB connector.
Right.
And then the ones on the back actually have digital I/O. The pins here are the digital I/O, like the D plus and the D minus. So I can connect it to a Pi that's mounted in something, and all I have to do is run the data pins to here, and then it activates these 2. So it's just kind of like an extender. And since the board's already got the 5 volts, I don't have to run power to it. It just needs the data.
Right.
So
how hard, or is it even possible to actually have all of those be full USB so that there's no mistaking which is which?
Well, so the thing is, these ones would always be the ones facing out because of the power jack. These ones will always be the ones facing out because of the power jack. These ones will always be the internal ones facing towards the case.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So like if you want, so I thought about it and it's like, well, since these ones are facing in and you've already got the Pi facing in, it doesn't really do you any good.
You're not going to be plugging and unplugging out of there.
Yeah. But if you wanted to use it in such a way, you could, like the data pins are still accessible through here. So you could just add little lead off wires to the middle pins on each of the USB ports.
Gotcha.
So a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Sorry, go ahead.
Brian said, "Hey Glenn, maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe one of those kids won't want to be a future video editor." Cough, cough. I've already had that thought too. I still think you should make Xander your assistant. One, because then everyone will go, that's Xander's dad. Yeah, but it has to be an adult. I have to have a second adult. I am thinking about buying a like a 4-camera security camera setup and mounting it, which I've been thinking about anyway, just for coverage.
Oh, but sloppy B-roll if you need it.
Right, yeah. I mean, make it look like video camera footage. It doesn't have to be super clean because it would be like up high and just kind of an overview. So I'm getting an occasional beeping. Does anybody else hear that? I don't know if it's on my side or if it's on your side.
I have not heard any occasional beeps. Are you sure it's not? It might be catching up my printer moving.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know either. You just didn't know if it was something in this room because I don't spend a whole lot of time in here, so I didn't know if there was something in here that was that was beefing.
My cat's breath smells like cat food.
Uncle Ron said, "Who's the first adult?" Listen, it's adult by age, not by maturity level.
You have a maturity level? I haven't seen it yet.
Well, everybody has a maturity level. Some are just lower than others.
Some are just straight 0.
No, I'm pretty excited about it though. It could work out to be really good. And like I might go through the first time and it just sucks and then I don't want to do it anymore. So I used to be the church mechanic. That was my ministry was if there was somebody in the church that needed auto repair, but just they didn't necessarily have the money to there, you don't hear that?
That's the printer.
Is it the printer? Okay.
Yeah.
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 So, like they, okay, their shocks are bad and they need them replaced. They just don't have the money to pay a mechanic. I would find them the cheapest parts that I could find. And then I wouldn't charge labor. I did it based on donation. I would say, like if you're able to give a little something, then great. And if not, I fully understand. And then people would be like, well, how much? And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, like what you can afford or what you want to give. And like some people would bring me like gift cards or, whatever. It was great. And then other people would have you do extensive, almost tear the whole engine down type work, like timing belts and stuff, and then not give you anything or give you like a $20 Chipotle gift card that the thing has already been scratched off on the back. So, they used some of it, and it's like, and they can afford it. I mean, it was a Ferrari for heaven's sakes. No, not really. But it just got to be, that wasn't really the deciding factor because turning wrench is turning wrench to me. I enjoy doing it. But what finally broke me was that I didn't have any of my own time. Like my own stuff was going neglected because every minute of the day I was in the garage working on somebody else's stuff. Every weekend was all weekend working on somebody else's stuff. That's why this YouTube thing has worked out great because people bring me stuff. Hey, can you put an oil pump in this? And I go, nope. One, that's not what I do. And two, I don't got time for it. Now, if they come to me and they're like, hey, can you put a supercharger on this? I'm like, yeah.
Only if I haven't already done that on the channel.
Even so, I don't care. At this point, I have to go out and buy a freaking Explorer and build an overlanding vehicle. I wouldn't buy the Explorer though. I'd do like a Toyota. More parts available. But yeah, people are asking like, when's the rest of this series happening? And I'm like, never. The wind blew and a leaf fell on it, and it totaled it out.
I mean, a leaf technically could have fallen on it and destroyed it. That's another type of car.
Yeah, if it's a Nissan Leaf, yeah. But yeah, so it's been a really like stupid, crazy week. Work is still very hectic as we adjust to
a bossless situation.
Yeah, no longer being micromanaged. It's truly just great every day. And then I've started to cross train one of the project managers to know how to do estimating, not because we need him as an estimator, but because as different things come through, he'll be able to then look into it and figure it out without having to interrupt one of the estimators, which is fantastic. Plus, it's always more fun to have more people in the company that understands the amount of crap that we go through to get the results that we get. So, yeah, we had a meeting today, mine via phone, everybody else in the office, because I don't like people, and I don't know, something was said. Oh, because they called me. I didn't end up calling in. They called me, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize what time it was. I was busy over here coloring pictures." And they kind of snickered, and I said, "Well, that is what I do for a living. I get black and white photos and I color them, which in a nutshell is what I do for a living." So, but it's all good.
Is it all good though? Like all of it?
It is all good. It is all good now. It's all good now.
It's all good in the house.
Even the annoying rough parts are better now. So Tony Ryan said, any use for an Eaton M60 supercharger off of a 302 V8 Superbird? Oh, not that I can think of.
Glenn's like, I'll tell you what you can do. I'll tell you what you can do with it.
That's not nice, James.
What? I thought you were going to give him some project ideas.
New channel, Glenn's Whims. Follow along as Glenn teaches you something totally different week to week.
Different, but still same.
That would be glorious. And like, I would have a disclaimer that says what I'm teaching you might not even be right, but too bad. This is the way I do it.
You know what they say? Sucks to suck.
Will that fit on my Hemi? No, it will not. I still have to make a decision what I want to do about that Thunderbird. So, Hot Rod Power Tour is coming up. It is
Hot Rod Power Tour.
June the 12th, I think. I think it's like 12th through the 19th or 12th through the 17th. I think it's 5 days. It's starting in Atlanta this year at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is going into, it's either one or two places in South Carolina, and then, like, if it's two in South Carolina, it's one in North Carolina, or vice versa. I think it's one in South and two in North, and then it ends in Tennessee and Bristol. So I am like super excited because I'm going to go. I look up the dates and I'm like, yeah, it's in the middle of the summertime. We can do this as a family.
We are family.
That week. I come down, I'm so excited. I said to my wife, I said, Hot Rod Power Tour, June the 12th. And she's like, oh, wait a minute. Bloop, 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 bloop. Zach's in camp. And I'm like, F. And she's like, well, you can still go. And I'm like, well, I know that. But so Power Tour is different. Sick Week is more about the racing, which is amazing. Which we've absolutely made the decision next year. We are doing the Sick Ward. Well, maybe we might actually do Sick Week depending on what we end up with by then. But we're at least going to do Sick Ward, where you just follow along. You go through the motions without the racing. But with Hot Rod Power Tour, it's really kind of a mobile car show. And they give you the route to follow and stuff. And like, people line up along the side of the road and they hold up posters and they just want to see the cars. So I don't want to drive the Flex or the Nissan. Like, I want something that stands out somehow. So it's put me back on the kick of digging the T-Bird out of the dirt. Man, Mike, so what T-Bird do you have? It is a 1966 two-door hardtop. It is old and rough. I paid $1 million for it. I paid
plus taxes.
I paid $100 for it. Oh yeah. I have. It came originally with a. Well, somebody's gonna have to correct me. Is it 390? They come to the Fords come just straight 390, but the motor that I have that came with it, not in it, came separately, is a 460. But I checked the VIN and it originally came with a 390. I suppose the guy was working on putting the 460 in it. I have a run on another 460 that supposedly runs fine. It just needs some valve train work, but the price is right, so I'm gonna go get it regardless of what I do. I'll put it on a go-kart for the amount of money I'm paying for it. So I gotta go get that. I gotta help the guy dig it out of his storage. But right now the car has been sitting in the dirt for so long that it's almost on the ground. So it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge to get it out. I think we talked briefly about this last week, about possibly bringing the skid steer home from work and using that to get it out. But I need to get it out and figure out if it's even, because the whole bottom of that car could be rotted out and I don't know. So I need to get it out of there and see if it's even worth working. I mean, speed holes and ankle vents are fine, but if it's Flintstone mobile, obviously that's not going to work. So, but it looks like it's just Xander and I, and if that is the case, I may have another option that I can't tell you guys about because it's featured in an upcoming video. So many secrets. But I mean, I even considered the Talon. I can get the Talon running and take the Talon. And it has air conditioning. So, like, that's nice. But it's not going to stand out enough. You know, unless I put some kind of a weird paint job on it, or it'll stand out because it's screamingly fast. But
Okay, well, if you want people to look at it, what you need to do is build a shuttlecraft car.
a shuttlecraft, a 3D print the whole thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony said my pops has a 1948 Plymouth Coupe. Fantastic. With a built flathead straight 6. Makes a whole 49 horsepower now. Wow. One of the first fat fenders I ever fell in love with was a 48 Plymouth. And they had the front windshield was like 6 inches tall. They had cut it down. They channeled the whole car. It was just beautiful.
I'm going to plug power into this because I've wired it the way I think it's going to work with that bad trace. So let's just bring the fire.
Bring the fire. Bring the thunder. No. Uncle Ron said if the frame is rotted and it is now a flex, that would not be good. No, and then there's an issue with this, the way the front suspension is on a T-Bird. It's a front sump engine. So putting an LS in it, which would be a marvelous option, is a little bit tougher. There's a guy that's currently doing it, and he used an oil pan. I don't know. It was for for something else, for like putting an LS in a 280Z or something, but it's a front sump pan. So it's always possible. And pretty much you can take an LS and buy a handful of parts and put it in anything, like literally into anything. My toaster runs on a Chevy LS V8. Hawley's Eliminator series computers for that thing, all plug and play, self-learning, you know, until you want to start to get into some crazy stuff. So not a bad option. I would like to put a Cummins in that thing. Because the Cummins, you can swap the pan either way. It can be a front or rear sump, and you just buy the pickup for whichever way you're going. I would love to put a Cummins in that thing because it would still be a Cummins. So Dad says a 4-inch chop, 2-inch drop spindles up front, underslung leaf springs in the rear. Of course, the custom louver hood makes it fast, handles like a whale on marshmallows. Oh, those cars are so glorious. They're so glorious.
Well, she's not working the way she's supposed to because that light should be out when there's nothing short in the pins.
Mike said, loan you a T-Bug if I get well enough to get it wired. Oh, that'd be amazing. Never thought about just borrowing a car. You can't use a rental. You're not allowed to use rental cars. Just too bad because I could, go rent a supercar because I have tons of money just laying around. But I don't know. I was so looking forward to making it a family vacation, but it's not in the stars. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't dwell on it, even though I'm going to dwell on it. But Derek, that guy from Vice Grip Garage, I was in one of his videos, so he does something during these trips. I don't think he does it for Sick Week because time is of the essence, but Hot Rod Power Tour, because the people do. They line up like it's a parade, and he does something, and I'm totally going to steal it, and I don't even care. I don't think he would care. But they go out and buy a whole bunch of Hot Wheel cars. And then as they're driving, if there's kids out there, he'll stop and give them Hot Wheels, just to kind of keep that excitement going. And I'm like, I'm all over that. I'm going to hand out Hot Wheel cars and Fun King Garage business cards. Bugatti. I can't even afford to say Bugatti.
You got it, baby. You got it. So what did I do wrong here?
But yeah, I have. Less now. But when I looked it up a couple days ago, it was 111 days out. So I have approximately 100 days to get a car ready, which is completely doable if you have a bottomless checkbook.
Oh well, that's perfect for you then.
Yeah. But I have a little slush money put away for another project. I just haven't picked the project yet. And then I've got a project that's coming into the garage that is coming to me really just to be flipped. It needs some love, and then it's going to be sold, and I get to roll around in some of that profit. So
let's see.
Uncle Ron said with the back of the Hot Wheels package with all the Fun King Garage info on it. Well, you can get custom Hot Wheel cars. Like Mattel will make you custom cars. And there's another manufacturer, Johnny Lightning. They'll custom, but you got to buy lots of them. So, but no, I will keep everybody apprised of what's going on because you guys are spread out so far that, like, if I'm looking for something, you guys might be the ones that can find what I'm looking for as far as parts or even a new platform. But I was actually going to pull that T-Bird this week, but it just didn't happen. It was just such a crazy busy week. So I've actually been working overtime this week, and I'm not even mad about it. I don't get paid for it because I'm salary, but I'm not mad about it because the management style is so much nicer now. Partridge Family Bus can camp in it. God, Ron, I can't tell you how many times I've almost bought a school bus, but like I just get close and then I can't justify it.
If you can't justify buying a school bus, then you're not trying hard enough.
Well, it's just, what am I going to do with it? I'm not going to drive it enough to actually get any use out of it, like, I don't know. Everything seems like a fun project to me. That's the problem.
Been there.
Yeah. So
I have a video coming up, planned out, but like not at all filmed yet. I bought off eBay 2 Windows XP era tablet computers.
Okay.
Because I was up at 4:00 in the morning. And I came up with a concept. And I jumped right on it. And I woke up in the morning, $200 shorter, and with no memory of what I was going to use them for. Because I didn't write down the idea. I just went ahead and ordered.
So back in the day when I used to write a lot of PHP code and stuff, And one of the websites that I used to run for our car club, which is it's a nationwide, well, it's really a worldwide registry for our cars, but I wrote it from scratch, and I would have to keep a notepad and pen next to the bed at night because I'd wake up in the middle of the night with a solution to whatever problem I was having. Now, keep in mind, this was back in the day where you couldn't just search everything that you could possibly want to know about programming. So, like, books was how you figured stuff out. I mean, obviously the internet was around, but this would have been late 90s, early 2000s, just to kind of put it into perspective. And but I would snap awake in the middle of the night with the solution to the problem. And I would have that problem too. Like, I'd be like, oh, that's it. And then, like, if I didn't write it down, I'd wake up the next morning. I had no clue what the solution was. Well, that looks like it turned on.
Won't turn off though.
Well, turn off if you pull the power plug out.
So here's the thing. So I unplug the power, and yes, it goes out. Obviously, I plug it in. Okay, the last time it stayed off. It was stayed off until I hit the pins for the power switch.
Is there a capacitor on there?
Nope.
Uncle Ron said I was punching holes in cards. It wasn't that long ago. real tape machine.
This is odd.
Slid beads from one side to the other. Oh, you guys would just kill me. Whew.
Well, I kind of don't know, you know.
I don't know. Hey, did I tell you guys that I was in one of Vice Grip Garage's videos? You know, it's really funny because we're in like the first 2 seconds of the video, and then we're in it right after he comes back from his intro. Like, that was the 2 points where we hit it.
The intro and the post intro.
Yeah. Well, like the beginning of the video and post. Yeah. Tony Ryan says the dial backwards and turning it on.
Is the what?
The diode. You got a diode in there?
No, it's just 5 volts going to the pin and a resistor to bleed it out when you take away the 5 volts.
Makes sense because you're using an external power supply, so
yeah,
you don't really need the protection.
I need to double check some stuff.
Abacus, a Genesis song, right? Oh, Tony said the LED, it's a diode.
That is true. It is a diode.
It's a light emitting diode, sir.
Okay, so this is.
So I'm gonna try maybe next week to be able to stream from the garage. I got to figure out a project for being out there, but even if it's hot, I'll figure out how to be out there as long as what I have out there now is either gone or I can hide it. Chris Alton said, have you ever 3D printed a pistol frame for fun? I know James wouldn't approve. Well, he's Canadian. They don't like guns. I have not.
I'm curious why I wouldn't approve.
Maybe because I've made a big stink about you being on the other side of the political spectrum from myself. But
I mean, I went through and got licensed for restricted and unrestricted firearms, which is just for like personal use stuff here. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't really know, but Brian said, what I'm curious about is why nobody's questioning how loud the printer sounds. And I asked about it because I thought it was just something beeping. But no, to answer Chris's question, I have not. I've printed like rubber band guns and replica guns and stuff, but never like a real. I'm not that ballsy. Is that the word? Like, that would terrify me to try to shoot a 3D printed gun. So Nope. I got enough ones that are actually manufactured that I don't need a 3D printed one.
I don't need something that comes with the added bonus of maybe losing my arm.
Well, I mean, any of them, you have that chance, but it's a lot slimmer when it's manufactured under quality control as opposed to coming out of my AMA. I don't know. I know Walter did. I know Walter printed. I want to say it was for his AR-15.
Well, he did some parts. I remember him starting doing parts videos. So I don't think he did a full printer, but he did a full gun rather. But he
No, I don't think he did the full gun. I think he did just like the body of it or whatever. And then actually went out and shot it. But no, I don't know. I don't have like a most asked question when people learn I 3D print a gun yet. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. Like, oh, don't do it. Versus, I mean, you're a human being. You make your own decisions. I don't care. I don't care if you do it. Do ghost guns scare me? Yep. But I don't think it's as big of a problem as people make it out to be. But just the whole, I mean, anytime that you make, like, because some of those 3D printed guns are like a one-time use. Like, you're going to get one shot out of them. They're done. But man, that could just go so terribly wrong.
One and done. And by done, it's like you're done.
Yeah, you might be done.
Like dinner?
Uncle Ron's sending me text. This is this. But yeah, zip gun. There you go. But no, I don't know. I don't think it's a secret. I'm a firm believer in ownership. I have a very nice collection, not necessarily as big as I want it to be, but that goes back to that non-unlimited checkbook. I wish ammunition wasn't so expensive. Yeah, Xander actually asked me if I would take him to the range. When he was quite a bit of a smaller lad, we were at a local gun store that's also a range, and he was quite enamored. He got one of the big chairs and drug it over to the window where he could watch, and he was watching. No desire to go in there and no desire to actually shoot. And then it kind of caught me off guard because it's been a couple months ago now, he came and he's like, I want you to take me to the range. And I'm like, why? I'm like, do I need to dig through your computer to find your manifesto? Like, but no, I definitely want to take him, but
I don't know how it's getting the 5 volts to begin with now.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, like, I don't know. I can't be the only one, but like when I go to pick a new gun, there's some criteria. I'm a huge fan of Sig Sauer. That is absolutely my handgun of choice. But like when I bought my AR-15, I bought it from Spikes Tactical, which is a local manufacturer here in Florida, and it was originally built for the Santa Barbara Police Department. They used it for a training mission. They ran about 500 500 rounds through it, and then it came back. Like they'd only used it for the training, and so I got a sweet deal on it. But it had like the plastic handguard. I mean, it looked like an M16. It looked like a military M16, and so I had gotten permission from the chief financial officer to spend a certain amount of money, which was like $800. This was years ago. And by the time I left there, I was closer to $1,200 because it didn't look cool enough. So like I like, they gotta look cool, you know, but gun control is not shooting yourself by accident. Absolutely. I thought gun control was hitting your target. So, but no, I absolutely love my Sig Sauer handguns. My first Sig Sauer, I got a sweet deal on it because the guy who owned it got Baker acted, and then they determined that he was not mentally stable, and he had to get rid of all of his handguns. So I got a beautiful 9mm with like all kinds of extra magazines and even some like 17 round magazines, which is just unuseful. Nobody should have a magazine that holds 17 rounds. Oh, this is getting dark fast.
Something weird is going on. I'm not getting voltage readings out of anything. Is this not working right?
To like cook your power supply?
No, because I connected. So I don't know a good way to show this on camera. I don't think I can unless maybe I just turn this sideways.
Brian said I could see Glenn with a Desert Eagle. I almost bought one, man. Years and years ago. 50 cal Desert Eagle. Brilliant. Until I shot it one time.
Okay, so sorry.
No, go ahead.
So if I connect my leads to the pins for the LED, effectively 0, right?
Uh-huh. It's a nice meter you got there.
If I then take my LED without touching anything else and slide it on, make contact with the pins. Did you see it light up?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I can't quite.
Yeah, your hand's in the way.
I know. I'm trying to position it where I can hold it because I don't have like it's supposed to be connected via jumper cables basically, and I don't have
the. Okay.
You can see it light up.
Yep.
Okay, so then and then if I carefully go and then. Well, okay, so the LED is still connected and it's lit up. You'll have to take my word for it. If I connect to this with there.
You're connecting across the LED?
Yeah, like the pins. I'm connecting to the pins that the LED is connected to. So. Okay, so you see it's registering 2 volts.
2 volts. Which
I get rid of the LED.
Because you're gonna
and the pins it was. Oh, now it's registering 5 volts.
Yeah, because you have some loss across the LED.
It was not register. It was registering 0 volts before, when the LED was disconnected. And then when I was checking on the barrel connector, I was also getting. That's when I was like, I don't know what's broken, but.
Huh.
Yeah. See, I can't. If I connect to the barrel connector.
Uncle Ron said, I love the 50 makes more of a whoop than a bang. The first time I was ever near a 50 cal going off, it was a guy with a rifle, and we were at the gun range up in Ocala, and we all had our eyes and ears on, and we're just having a good time target plinking, and all of a sudden, like, my chest caved in for a second. I'm like, what in the world is that? But no, that 50 cal Desert Eagle, I mean, that's like, you got to use all 4 hands to hold that thing. It is ridiculous the amount of kick that comes off of that. Unless you're who's the video game character? I can't describe her. Family friendly. It'll come to me in a second.
Wait, is it?
Tomb Raider. Yeah, Tomb Raider. She always had 2 50 cals. And she was like 110 pounds soaking wet. Laura Croft, there you go. Thank you, Chris. That's why I keep all you guys around. Because I can't remember. There's Tony chiming in. Everybody knows Laura Croft. Uncle Ron said the 50 rifle round is a beast. You can rent one at Shooter's World. Yeah, but it's like $5 every time you pull the trigger. It is crazy expensive to shoot those things. It's good fun though. There's a place in Orlando that you can go and shoot fully automatic submachine guns. It's called something America.
This is America?
I have to look it up now. It's I tried to convince my boss to take us there as part of our Christmas party, but I'm sure that they have them elsewhere. I'm sure Orlando's not the only one. Machine Gun America. I should have remembered that. I don't know why that left me, but
I think there might have been one in Vegas. I think that might have been where we went.
yeah.
It was fun, but the guy that was doing like the gun safety thing at the beginning, explaining what will get you kicked out, made it like even for a group of guys that were like known for or laughing at like bad jokes, he made a joke that I would not have made in peer company. Something that like even if you were 18 plus for this channel, I wouldn't make the joke.
Yeah.
It was yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd still be fun to get out there and shoot something fully automatic. I don't have any desire to own one. I don't have a need for one. I can pull the trigger on my semi-automatic just plenty fast enough. Now, one of the ranges that we go to, they have a sign that said we have a strict no rapid fire policy, but I always ask them when I go in. I always go, I'm going to do 3-shot bursts. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. They just don't want you like
empty the whole clip.
Yeah. Because it's too hard to control. You lose control when you're more worried about how fast you can pull the trigger. So, I'm cranking the trigger guard. I remember when I first bought my current carry piece. It's a 6 Sawyer. I can't remember. It's a 9 something. 9. I can't remember now. But I took my wife. We went to the gun range, and she's like, "Well, I'd like to shoot the new gun." And I'm like, "Okay." So I give it to her with a box of 50 rounds, and I'm over with my 226, and I only put 3. I put 3 bullets in each time, because otherwise I would just barrel through my ammunition. So I do 3. I kind of check to see what I'm doing. I load 3 more. I think I had shot a total of maybe 9 rounds, and she tapped me on the shoulder and she's like, I need more rounds. I'm like, what? I give you 50? She had barreled through 50 rounds in the time I went through like 9, maybe 12. Like, I'm like, how are you even reloading the magazine that fast? Uncle Ron said Bonnie armor drill, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. Absolutely. You have 10 minutes to figure this out, man.
I am so confused. Okay, so here's the other thing. There's 2 ground spots on here. There's this guy here, where my finger is, and this guy here, and then the positive's there, right?
Okay.
If I go in with my probes right now,
it's the barrel connector. Yep.
Yeah. So if I go in with my probes right now and I connect to there and there, there's my 5 point whatever volts, right?
Okay.
If I connect to the other ground spot.
Well, the other ground spot is, I believe, just the casing.
Right, but that's still connected to the... Because the other thing is, so if I go to continuity test, and I do a connection between here and here. Oh.
That's what it said.
Okay. No, I just figured out what's been going on. I've been testing for continuity while the circuit is switched on and like active. which is, as we said, it connects the two ground planes together through the MOSFET.
Right.
So if I take this resistor off, this bleed out resistor, assuming I can get her off there.
Tony said we took the boys plinking one time, figured out they only get to shoot the bolt action because they could run through with 100 rounds in the semi-automatic in about 10 minutes. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's funny. So we went firing, and they pulled out a couple of handguns, and I'm not good with gun names, so if I'm wrong that this isn't like the real, but like an MP5, so submachine gun.
Okay.
I was familiar with. Oh, that's burning. I thought it was from the soldering, but no, the resistor got stupid hot because that is a low resistance resistor, so it was funneling lots of power that it didn't need to be funneling to ground. Sorry. So we fire the handguns, and then we get to the submachine gun, and it goes, okay, you're gonna do ta 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 ta. You get to fire like burst through, and then you can just empty the rest of the clip if you want. Just hold it down and fire it. Well, I had used the gun in Counter-Strike. Maybe it was Global Offensive. Maybe it was 1.6 back then. Previously, so when I held the trigger down for the final shot, I pulled down into the left like I did in game, and all my shots ended up within 2 inches of center mass. And he goes, "Have you fired that before?" I said, "Technically, no." He's like, "How did you know like how to handle the recoil?" I'm like, "I play a video game that has this gun in it, and if you pull low into down into the left when you fire, you manage to control the recoil pattern."
Yeah,
And
because it wants to. Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, "It's always weird when you nerds come in here."
Yeah, I can't remember what the gun was. There was a gun range that my car club guys used to go to. Like we would get a group together and go, and they had
get a
like
group
you could
together and
pay.
go.
What's that?
Get a group together and go. That's a lot of G's.
Yeah. You could pay. It was like $9 to rent, but you could swap out everything that they had. Like, so you could take one and go shoot it, 3 times, bring it back and get something different, which blew my mind, the fact that they had to keep all that stuff clean for $9. But they had, and I don't remember what it was. It was a Sig Sauer. It was a 9mm, but it was about the size of a submachine gun. And somebody out there probably knows what I'm talking about. But one of the guys had rented that, and we were each taking turns with it, and like they were shooting it, they were doing all right, and I get up there, and I'm not like bullseyeing it every time, but my grouping was within like a 3-inch circle, and everybody was like, "How in the world are you that good with that?" And I'm like, I'm just good at shooting," which is true. I am good at shooting. But what they didn't realize was I was resting my elbow on the side of the range on the divider. I had my elbow up on, so that I was stable. They're all like tucked like this, and I'm elbow out against the wall.
I have good news.
What's that?
Ready?
Yep.
Oh, I need something better to do this with. Okay, let's just do it with these guys. On, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off.
And how'd you fix it?
I connected it to the other ground. So it's been bleeding off to nothing is what it is. I was just like, I don't understand. This isn't a complex circuit, and I'm not a complex guy.
So your bleed off resistor that would turn off the FET really wasn't going. It was just going to a floating pin.
Yeah. So now I just got to do a little rework here to make it more gooder.
More gooder.
Let's see. I got to figure out which I have to figure out which pin I need to connect it to again because I messed around. I messed with the bull.
And you got the horns?
Got the horns. It's probably this one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can.
Well,
make
never
it
did I
happen.
think a project talk would turn into gun talk.
It's because you're projecting.
I just have so many. I have so many interests, and it could be the ADD thing, but like, you know, the term like what is it? Jack of all trades, but master of none.
Jerk of all trades.
Like, I know so much about so much, but I'm not an expert in anything.
I believe you. I believe you.
Brian said, "So you're a good shot, so we can find a barn." You saying I can hit the broadside of a barn? Yeah. I used to have a shooting gallery set up here in the garage for what's the big BBs? Airsoft. Xander was a wee baby, and Priscilla and I would put him. We were living in the RV when it was parked right here outside the garage, and we'd put him to bed at night, and we would come out here to the garage and shoot airsoft for a couple hours. So it was a great setup. Like, you would shoot, and I had a blanket, like this meshy blanket that hung, and that's what you'd hang the targets on, and the BBs would go through that, and it would hit a tarp, and they would drop down into a rain gutter that would roll down into a bucket at the end so that we could collect the ammo. Now, this, obviously, Xander was a baby, so this was, 15, 16 years ago. And I still find BBs in the garage.
So what's funny too is the wall that's behind me. When we moved in, I bought myself just a little BB gun, just something to fire off. And I had this fairly large cardboard box, and I stuffed it with these old pillows. So I'd shoot into the box, and they'd fall down and they'd roll. So every once in a while, I could go and like tear the corner. Or I had a hole torn in the corner of the box. I'd dump them out, and then I could recycle them, and just had to make sure that they weren't too deformed because I don't want to get one jammed in the barrel.
Right.
Anyways, I shot at it so many times that eventually it wore a hole all the way through. And so the one day I went to move the box, and there was just a cluster of holes in the drywall behind it.
That's great. Yeah, I set up a target. I took a cardboard box and stuffed it full of old bed pillows, and set that up for Zach. I have a couple of Daisy Red Riders, and he was out there plinking at that. Uncle Ron said, "I have a 22 steel bullet trap if you want me to bring it down next time." Except for we can't shoot here. Is the problem. We're too close to houses, and somebody will call the police because they're fun killers. Otherwise, I'd totally take you up on that. I got a nice 22. I have a 22 that has a scope on it. I paid more for the scope than the 22. And I've had that scope mounted on my BB gun. 3D print a suppressor. Oh, well, it is 9:00.
On a Saturday?
I don't know. It's a regular crowd.
We didn't start the fire.
No, I got to go put my kid to bed.
Got anything to plug?
Brian said the biggest thing I've ever seen a BB pellet gun shoot is a pellet called a super point. I am quite familiar with super points. Without getting entirely too personal, I have a scar on my inner thigh from a super point. I was in motion, running when I got shot with it too. Dirtbags were only supposed to use BBs and only one pump. But no. This guy was like 10 pumps and pellets. I don't have anything to plug. I've started to organize my files, but I've yet to put a video together. I don't know what my next one coming out is. I think it's going to be a Fummins, just because of the amount of people that are communicating with me about the Fummins project. So it's probably going to be a Fummins. Otherwise, it's going to be the project of working on Uncle Ron's truck. Did you ever play with that AI that I sent you that turns your content into other content?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Because when I do that video of Uncle Ron's truck, I'm going to try that so that I can put it on shorts as well as on the gram. Mad Mike throwing down $4.99 US cents with a sticker that says "keep it up" and then like a little pear-shaped guy working out. Thank you, Mike, for the $4.99. It is always appreciated. Yeah, you guys were so good to me last year. You pushed me. There's the notification. You guys pushed me $30 over the threshold, and now I have to pay tax on my YouTube money. Oh, curses. When did we give the printer away? Was that last year or the year before?
I think that was last year.
I might have to dig up the recipient for that and see if I can write that off, because most of that money actually went towards that printer. So, but Mike said I enjoy the chat. Well, I also enjoy the chats. Listen, James and I joke all the time about, like, we don't have anybody watching this show because we suck, and I guess that's not really a joke. It's true, but we also look forward to the chats. I mean, this is really the only time that James and I ever talk to one another. We message each other throughout the week, but we don't talk to one another. So it's nice for us to get to talk to each other, but it's also great when the chat is active and you guys keep everything rolling. Great. Some AI is going to put me in Glenn's shorts. This is a family-friendly channel, Uncle Ron. No, it's an AI that supposedly you upload your video to it, and it will reformat it for YouTube Shorts or TikTok if you're into that. And if you are into that, get away from it. Just run as far as you can from the TikTok. Did you hear that China banned ChatGPT?
I did not hear that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. I don't like the thing that I read didn't say why, but I think it's because it knows all and it sees all. So, but anyway, the little poem that I put up onto the Twitters today. Tune in and don't delay to Project Talk live stream today. Insightful conversations on display. Don't miss out. Be part of the fray. Was brought to you by ChatGPT. Who owns the copyright to that? Does OpenAI own the copyright to that, or do I?
No one knows for sure.
Yeah, it's a very gray area. So
you know what's funny? You guys all saw that working, right? I had it working.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It won't work now. I went to because I had wired it directly to the power switch pin. So then I went to wire it into the board where it's supposed to be, and it wasn't working. So now I've gone back to the power switch pin, and it doesn't work.
It's got to be something really like stupid. But anyway, we got to wrap up.
We sure do.
Do you have anything that you wish to promote?
Not at this time. I mean, if you haven't watched the shuttle PC video, you should go back and watch the shuttle PC video.
I watched it twice.
It's I think it was a well done video.
I think it was a well done video as well. That the project is just amazing, and I love that it was picked up by Tom's Hardware. Is it Tom's
I think
Hardware that picked it up?
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I think it should have been picked up by more, but James is right. If you haven't watched that, go do it. Links are in the description, at least to his channel. Did you get that other problem taken care of?
Which other?
Your Twitter profile?
Yes, it's fixed. I don't know exactly what went wrong there, but
it looked like it had just truncated the link, and it truncated it to a Russian YouTube channel. It was actually Xander that found that. So
very odd, very peculiar.
yeah, he discovered that while we were at lunch on Friday at the local Chili's. So
welcome to Chili's.
But anyway, I don't have anything to plug. I really was going to try to have a video out this week, but same story. The week was crazy. So I am goaling very hard for next week. I have promised myself that I will take Sunday afternoon of this week, and if nothing else, figure out what the video is going to be, and then I can start to edit that together. I think if I do the Uncle Ron's video, it'll be pretty quick, because what we did was duplicated side to side. So really I only have to show one side. So the only thing that scares me is I looked at a little bit of the video coverage, and it was either corrupted or it just didn't play well on this computer. There was something going on, like it was glitchy. So I'm hoping that the footage isn't messed up, but if it is, I can always find a way around that. It's usually where I just like come in and be like, I'm human, I screwed up. So and that's just the GoPro footage. I think the regular footage is fine. So, but anyway, but that's it. So this is the part where I say thanks to each and every one of you guys for tuning in. Chat was fantastic tonight, as always. You guys are absolute champions. We appreciate you being here. Otherwise, these streams would be useless to do without you. We will be back next Thursday. I don't think I have anything going on next Thursday.
That's the plan, man.
So, like, James through the week will be like, I don't want to stream. I'm like, dude, we have to stream. He's like, yeah, I don't really want to. And I'm like, but we have to. The people are waiting on us. No, I have nothing next Thursday. So we should be fine. Everything should be good. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, do so. That's where I post everything. If you follow me on Facebook, my apologies to you. I don't post anything there. I don't like the Facebooks. I am on Instagram, but that is under Fun King Garage. If you don't follow me there, do so. If you don't follow me on youtube.com/Fun King Garage, do that as well, because it gets way more content than this channel does. And I think it's way more fun content. Who likes 3D printing anyway? So thank you guys. We'll see you next week. And until next time, as always,
print on.